The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Dubby's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by Dubby, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. Dubby's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. Dubby Energy, be better. Are you a fellow car guy? I have a 2008 Ford Mustang GT convertible, and nothing makes me happier in that car than when it's nice and clean. And you know who helps me get there? RevAutoCarCare.com. They help me get that pony looking as nice and shiny and ready for any of the car meetups that are all around the great city of El Paso. Spoil your car and go to RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton and view all the inventory they have and find out what works for you to help make your ride shine. RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton. Use promo code Tipton33 at checkout to save 15%. We all know there's hundreds of betting sites out there, but don't be fooled. Some sites are legal in some states only. Some sites pay in Bitcoin, and some sites have even been hacked. BetUS, however, has been in business for over 30 years. Future bets are paying out in the thousands, and if you act right now, you can still bet on the biggest games in sports. Visit BetUS.com, or you can click the link at nessp.info. BetUS, check it out and bet responsibly. It is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. Thank you all so much for joining me here on a Wednesday morning. I believe it's Wednesday. All my days have basically become one full total day. I have zero concept of time at this exact moment, but you know what? It's all good. We are live right now on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course on Roku via National Streaming Sports. Shout outs to our friends over at National Streaming Sports for allowing us to do all of the silly nonsense that we do here with the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. A lot of stuff that we're going to talk about today. A lot of things going on. We have the NBA trade deadline. That is tomorrow. Then, of course, later on this week on Sunday, just 4 or 5 days away, is the Super Bowl. So we've got a lot of things that are happening in 1 week. It's almost like that week and like the month of October almost, right? Where like you have college football, you have Major League Baseball, you have the NBA, you have hockey, you have the NFL. It almost feels like it might be too much and your heart's going to explode, or maybe that's just me being a big old fat guy. But either way, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about today here on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. So thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Now, where we're going to get started at is in the NFL. And in the NFL, we have all the press conferences, a lot of questions that are out there by people, right? What's going to happen with Travis Kelce? Is this the final run for Travis Kelce? Is this the final run for the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Win, lose, draw. Well, I guess you can't draw because it's the Super Bowl, but win or lose, what is the impact of this game going to be on the Kansas City Chiefs for next season? Well, one of those questions got answered, and that was from the Kansas City Chiefs head coach, Andy Reid, whenever he was asked about what his plans were for the future, at least going into next season.
Yeah, that's not part of it. That I enjoy teaching, so I don't get caught up too much on all the stats and all the records and all that stuff. but I enjoy being around the guys. I enjoy football, the game. You can't put in the hours that we do and not enjoy it. I love the game. Yeah. Yeah, yes, I'll be back. I'm glad he's going to have me back. I mean,
so there you go. Andy Reid saying, yes, I'm going to come back. Like, he loves football. You can't be a head coach in the NFL without loving the game, right? And that's kind of what Andy Reid is showing and showcasing at that moment during the press conference, right? I think the Chiefs dynasty ends whenever Andy Reid decides that he wants to go to either another team or retire, whatever it is. That dynasty ends along with Andy Reid. That's my personal opinion on what's going to happen with the Kansas City Chiefs. You can tell he's still having fun. They still have success. They're still, you never really get tired of winning, right? And I will never understand how it is that this team can be as good as they are and are still just consistently doubted by everyone that's out there, right? You look at BetUS right now, you look at all the different betting sites that are out there, and you'll see that the Kansas City Chiefs are a 1-point favorite over the Philadelphia Eagles. And whenever you look at these rosters head to head, you'll say, man, Philadelphia has the advantage in talent along the offensive line, in the backfield. The only difference would be, do you take Travis Kelce over Dallas Goedert? That might be a toss-up for some people. I'm still leaning Kelce. Do you take Patrick Mahomes over Jalen Hurts? That's a resounding yes, right? Philadelphia's defense, the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL. Kansas City's defense, what, middle of the road, top 10 type defense here that they had in Kansas City? I will never understand how this team in the Kansas City Chiefs is consistently doubted. What more do they have to do? Like legitimately, right? Like, what more do the Kansas City Chiefs have to do to get the respect that they deserve as the 2-time defending champion and looking to get their three-peat, right? What more can the Kansas City Chiefs do? Because I still feel like even if they win this game, if there's a singular call that might be questionable in the first quarter of the game, that's going to be the headline going into Monday, right? Is, oh my goodness, the Chiefs got whatever call that goes their way to make it seem as though we all want to believe in the conspiracy that the referees are out here trying to, make sure that everything happens to get the Chiefs the Super Bowl win. Again, I don't buy all of the BS of the game is rigged, right? Like, there's so much that would have to happen, so much buy-in that would have to happen, that it's almost impossible to rig the NFL. But I guarantee you, and even if the Chiefs, as Jaime Pinkman tunes in saying, go Chiefs, I'm with you on that one, my dude, go Chiefs. Even if Kansas City were to come out and absolutely dominate this game, I don't feel like they would get the love and respect that they deserve. Again, as what would be a potential 3-time champion, the first team to three-peat in NFL history, they still wouldn't get the respect that they deserve. Why? What more does Kansas City have to do? They go through this season, and yes, it wasn't pretty, but they go through the season, they finish the season 15-2. How is it that even though they're a 15-2 team that's won the last 2 Super Bowls, all the people out there, all the people on ESPN, all the people on Fox and all the other places out there, wherever it is that you consume your NFL information from, are consistently picking against the Chiefs? Is it because it's not sexy to like pick Kansas City? Like we think they're going to win, so we just have to go with, the popular thing here of maybe the other team can win. I'd like to see Josh Allen win. I'd like to see Lamar Jackson win. The fact of the matter is, they're more than likely not ever going to win in a Patrick Mahomes era, right? Like they have to go up against Patrick Mahomes. And we've seen 7 straight seasons of the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. This is going to be their 3rd straight Super Bowl that they're in. I don't understand how or why this team is still constantly picked against. And even looking, like I said, at BetUS, at all the betting lines that are out there, just having the Kansas City Chiefs as a 1-point favorite, whenever we can say unequivocally, they have the better quarterback and they have the better coach. Unequivocally, we can say that. How are they just a 1-point favorite? Jaime Pinkman saying one of those teams people love to hate. People hate constant winners in any sport. Yeah, I still feel like, though, the Dodgers, though, right? Like, they're a team, like, I get it, Jaime, you're a Giants fan, so you're going to hate the Dodgers no matter what. But I feel like there's been, like, this constant, like, oh, okay, well, let's get the Dodgers some wins. And, like, let's love on the Dodgers because they were these, this loser franchise for, 30 years or so. I don't think people are tired with the Dodgers, right? Like, I genuinely don't feel that way. I don't think people are tired with the Celtics. Like, people love the storyline behind the Celtics, right? Like, I think we pick and choose which winners we want to support, right? And which winners we want to hate. I'm trying to figure out, like the term in media stuff is like, when did they jump the shark? When did they jump the shark and become like this, the team that everyone decided to hate? Was it last season? Like, was it going into this season? Is it really the Taylor Swift thing? Because if that's the reason why you're hating on the Kansas City Chiefs is because of Taylor Swift, you clearly don't watch football because they show famous people at every single football game if there's a famous person there. It just so happens there's no famous Cincinnati Bengals fans. I don't even know if that's true. But, like, when they show the Tennessee Titans, is there a huge, high-profile Tennessee Titan fan? No. I equate it to back whenever Tony Romo was dating Jessica Simpson and Carrie Underwood, right? They would show Jessica Simpson and Carrie Underwood in the stands cheering on their man Tony Romo, which, by the way, bless life for Tony Romo. Jesus, man. How's Tony Romo pulling all this off, man? I said that in a way that really discounted that Tony Romo's a pretty good-looking dude. But it's been a thing. Like, it's always been a thing. Hell, I remember in the late 90s them showing Daryl Johnston's wife as a Sports Illustrated model in Dallas Cowboys broadcasts, right? Like, Moose would make a block and they'd be like, oh, hey, let's go up to Moose's wife, right? Like it's a thing that they do. Cowboys game showing, like, LeBron James. It's weird that LeBron James is a Cowboys fan, but showing LeBron James in, the stadium and him having a good old time. And, like, anytime some success happens, like, it's always that, right? Tommy Canazzo saying, if there's going to be a rigged Super Bowl for KC, please make it this year. I'm with you on that one, my dude. I am 100% with you on that one. Tommy also going on to say Tony was a pimp, and Pinky saying man crush vibes. Tony Romo's on the man crush list. I think one of these days, like, I have to publish the actual man crush list, right? I got no problem saying it. I always love whenever people are like, they look at me and they're like, I'm going to question your masculinity, but they sound like this. Why? Oh, Mike, you're not a man. Oh, and I'm comfortable. I know who I am as a human being. How about that? But I look at all of the stuff that they've done in, like, NFL history, right? Like, they always show the stars, the NFC Championship game. They're showing Bradley Cooper, right? Like, it's a normal thing. Tommy Canazzo saying was a Cowboys fan with his bandwagon ass. Got him. Roasted him. I completely forgot about that. I don't even know who his team is now. Is he a Chiefs fan? Has he been back to being a Browns fan? What is LeBron James as a fan of teams, right? I've always wondered about that. Like, what life must be like for the people that just, bounce around team to team. Like this is my favorite team this year. Like the Augustines of the world, right? Like, oh, I was a big LA or I guess St. Louis Rams fan whenever Kurt Warner was there, and then I became a Patriots fan, and now I'm probably going to be a Kansas City Chiefs fan, right? Like I think that's the way that it's going to move out and all that. Jaime Pinkman saying, I get that all the time, and I am much older than. Tommy Canazza, not the creepy Mickey voice. I think one of these days, like I'm just going to read like passages from 50 Shades of Grey. Like passages from 50 Shades of Grey with like Mickey voice. Like, why not? Right? We'll record that. We'll just have it just come out on the screen every now and again. Augustine didn't realize he was catching a stray. I saw you there, my guy. I saw you. But yes, Augustine, the most bandwagon of fans. I'm messing with you. I don't even know if you're a bandwagon fan. I just assume anyone that's a Patriots fan, bandwagon fan. But like I get that so much, right? Like, especially me growing up in the time that I grew up. How are you a Yankees fan and a Cowboys fan? You must have jumped on the bandwagon. Grrr. I apologize that they only showed the Yankees and Dodgers in El Paso due to blackout rules and other teams didn't exist whenever I became a fan. The very first baseball game I remember seeing on TV, and it was like a little itty bitty black and white screen TV that was mixed in with the radio, was a one-arm or a one-handed pitcher for the Yankees pitching a no-hitter. Very first baseball game I ever saw. You're going to love that, especially if you're a lefty too, right? Like, I was all about all that stuff with the Yankees. I constantly got that as a bandwagon fan. Augustine saying, I've been a Patriots fan since Steve Grogan. And I had satellite, LOL. And then going on to talk about my guy, Jim Abbott. That was a great, great, great pitcher for the Yankees back in the day. Yeah, there you go, Jim Abbott. I loved him, man. Like that right there, when that's your introduction to a team. And for those that don't know, the Yankees were bad. Like the late 80s, early 90s Yankees were bad. And this is how old I am, right? Like I look at that stuff. I go to the library at school and I'm going through like the Dewey Decimal System to find like books about the Yankees. I find stuff about Babe Ruth. Again, I'm a lefty, right? I'm also adopted. Babe Ruth being an orphan and being a lefty, it was like, oh, wow. Well, let's read stories about this guy. And it was just one of those things, right? Tommy or Jaime Pinkman saying, how about fans of teams that have never won a championship? They are the biggest criers and haters. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Like, I think it takes a special type of fan to sit there through the bad, right? Especially whenever you've never been able to experience the high, to sit there through the bad and be like, one day I'll be able to feel this. One day my team will be good enough for me to be happy that I support this team one day, right? And like I'm looking at Lions fans, I'm looking at Browns fans, all the teams out there that have never won a championship or at least a Super Bowl. The same thing with like Major League Baseball, right? Like the last time the Cleveland Guardians won a World Series was 1946, effectively. And I don't mean this in a terrible way, but more than likely the people that were around in 1946 to witness that game are no longer around, right? But to be a fan and just be like, maybe one day, that to me is what I like about fandom. Now, obviously, going back just a couple of weeks ago, you will know that I was drinking the tears of the Detroit Lions fans. But that's just because they had a fan that called me out on a show and was trying to give me a soliloquy on what it takes to build a winning franchise. Augustine saying all fans under all Dallas Cowboys fans under 29 years old. Then he's going on with the old name, the Cleveland Indians. Gary Bryant saying LeBron is a bandwagon fan in every sport. Was a Yankees fan, a Red Sox fan, now a Dodgers fan, a Cowboys fan, an Ohio State fan as well, just et cetera, et cetera. And that's weird that LeBron is a Dodgers fan at this exact moment because he's bought into Fenway Sports Group, which owns the Boston Red Sox. So to me, it's like, shouldn't you be a fan of the team that you own? Right? Yeah, isn't that the thing? I mean, I know we had the conspiracy theory yesterday of Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones not being a Dallas Cowboys fan, like he bought the team to bury the franchise, right? So I'm with that conspiracy theory. Hyman Pinkman saying, you sound like me and my San Francisco Giants. It was a never gonna happen and win a World Series in my lifetime. Marlene Salcedo saying, what's up, Poppy Tip? What's up, Marlene? How are you doing, Medusa Designs? Shout out to you. Thank you all for tuning in right now. Gary Bryant saying, I'm from North Carolina, living in Tennessee, and I'm a Cowboys fan. I have been for 45 years because we saw the Cowboys on TV almost every Sunday. We only had 3 channels on our TV way before cable TV. That's also one of the things that I noticed, right? Because I was stationed in Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in Goldsboro, North Carolina from 2009 to 2012. And I remember being there and being shocked and surprised at the amount of Dallas Cowboys fans that were in North Carolina, despite the fact that they had, the Carolina Panthers. We all have to remember Carolina's a newer team in the NFL. And I would ask them that question, like, how did you become a Cowboys fan? This was my introduction to Jesus Christ. That's how big of a fan base the Dallas Cowboys have. And it was, we used to see them on TV all the time. And then on the flip side of that, the other team in North Carolina, other than the Cowboys and other than the Panthers, was Washington Commanders fans. And it was simply because of the hate and vitriol towards the Dallas Cowboys. We saw the Cowboys on TV too much. That to me, like North Carolina, whenever I lived there, seeing that North Carolina was basically split into 3 teams, it was just one of those like, wow, okay, cool. Again, my experience as being someone that's kind of lived around a bunch of different places, even whenever I lived in in Alaska, right? The amount of Dallas Cowboys fans in Alaska, along with Seattle Seahawks fans, just because of proximity. And it's not even really that close. But it was just one of those things. And even in Connecticut, as a Cowboys fan, a lot of people that I worked with at ESPN were Cowboys fans, surrounded by Patriots and Giants fans and Eagles fans and all of that stuff as well. And yes, Seymour Johnson, Seymor, right? Like Seymour Johnson. It's, I remember getting my orders that I was going to go to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. I'm in tech school in Wichita Falls, Texas. And I get these orders and I'm looking at them and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this is a joke. Like all that came back to me was like those old Simpsons episodes where Bart would call the bar, he'd call Moe, and he would be like, can I see more butts? I need to speak to see more butts. And all I could think about was that, right? Like I'm looking at the Seymour Johnson, there's no way. I was like, people are effing with me. There's no way there's a military base called Seymour Johnson. And then it clicked at me that this is a real place, and that's more than likely the reason why people make fun of people in the Air Force is because we have bases like Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Nickname Shady J. For multiple reasons. Multiple reasons that nickname was Shady J. Hyman Pinkman saying, don't go to Langley Air Force Base, just Washington NFL fans. Wore my Cowboys shirt. Big mistake, but I loved it. Like I said, I think it was a couple of weeks ago that I said it as well. I applied for a job whenever I was getting out of the Air Force. I applied for a job that I would have been a driver in. Well, now I got to know. Am I still on air? Oh, wow. So I am still on air. There's my camera back. I have no idea what happened there. All kinds of stuff. I got a weird ringing in my ear. There was all kinds of stuff going on here. What's going on, guys? Jesus. But I had applied for a job where I would have worked for the city of Washington, D.C. And during my interview, I was asked if I was a Cowboys fan. And that was the disqualifier. is that I was a Dallas Cowboys fan. They were like, there's no way in hell that that you're going to be able to survive here. Going back to the Fenway Sports Group, Augustine saying they also own Liverpool. They also own some groups in NASCAR, like Fenway Sports Group. They also own the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fenway Sports Group has. I'll get to that. That's another topic for another day. We'll talk about that as well. The advantages of living on the border. More Mexican channels. Oh yeah, man. Whenever you have Channel 26, that was a place to go. And then going on to say that that's probably the gay base. Augustine always has like the oldest type of insults. It's the best to me. Like it's the best and the worst at the same time. I probably shouldn't have read that. I might get something back from National Streaming Sports, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. The funny thing about that is this entire conversation started out of just the Kansas City Chiefs and Taylor Swift. And how the hell did we end up on LeBron and Fenway Sports and then me talking about living in North Carolina? Good times. Don't get me wrong. Good times. Goldsboro, North Carolina. It's I remember whenever I got there, they said it was like the armpit of North Carolina. But dude, an hour, 45 minutes maybe away from the beach. 2 hours maybe away from like the mountains and Asheville and all that stuff. 4 hours away from Charleston, South Carolina, 4 hours away from Washington, D.C. I love to drive, so I've got no problems doing it. We're just traveling all around the Carolinas and surrounding areas, drove down to Georgia a bunch of times. It was a good old time, especially like at that point in time, didn't have kids, didn't have anything to worry about. It was just moving all around and doing all that stuff. Gary Bryant, this is where you and I are going to have a massive disagreement. I thought Carolina barbecue, like, it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good. But I'm from Texas, and it ain't Texas barbecue. I know that much. Like, way too much vinegar. It was too much vinegar for me, right? I'm a big fat guy, so obviously I ate it. But I didn't love it as much as I would have loved a bunch of other stuff like that as well. But going on to like what Gary had put up, that other comment where he said, I didn't know Fenway Sports Group owned a bunch of stuff. It's interesting. It is. And the thing with Fenway Sports Group, and this was a thing that Augustine and I were talking about, I want to say a couple of weeks ago. I had like a ask the host type thing, right? And it was my thoughts on Liverpool. And what that devolved into was my thoughts on Fenway Sports Group. Fenway Sports Group has done an amazing job at buying historical franchises that are going to have a built-in dedicated fan base. The Boston Red Sox, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Liverpool, right? They get them a couple of championships. If you look at that 3-year span from 20, I guess we can call it 4 years, 2016 to 2019, right? You look at that 4-year span. Pittsburgh won multiple Stanley Cups. The Red Sox win a championship. Liverpool wins a championship. And then all of a sudden, after having some of the highest payrolls in sports for all of those teams, the bottom falls off. And it's because you gave the fans their candy, right? You gave them what they're going to be addicted to, chasing that high all the time. And then you just pull it away. But the fans are still going to be there because they know, you know what? We've done this. We've done this before. I've just saw what looks like a weird trade to me. Kyle Kuzma being traded to the Bucks for Chris Middleton. That the NBA has been kind of weird with some of their trade stuff going on, right? Like that just seems like I don't know. There has to be more, right? There had to be more traded with that. It wasn't just Kyle Kuzma straight up for Chris Middleton. Augustine saying, but Liverpool has maintained its competitive edge for the life of their stay. That's the thing, right? Is like, I think in soccer, you can be a lot more competitive even if you don't have a super high payroll. In Major League Baseball, you have to make that investment. In hockey, you have to make that investment, or at least find ways like we've seen Tampa Bay, Vegas, and I believe Florida, like the last 4 champions, manipulate the payroll system to be able to, the way that the salary cap works in the NHL is that it's a salary cap for the regular season, and then you can bring in other talent that you have that, like, if you say they're injured, they don't necessarily go against your cap if they're injured for the entirety of the regular season. So you bring them in and they can play during the playoffs. Like that's one of the craziest loopholes I've ever seen, but it makes hockey a lot of fun, right? I don't know. Like I feel like Fenway Sports Group does a great job at marketing because we always see the stuff with Liverpool, we always see the commercials with Boston, we always see the commercials with like the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? They're also great on these teams have historic names, so they're always going to have a hardcore and dedicated fan base, right? Like just like the Dallas Cowboys, they're always going to have a hardcore and very dedicated fan base. So you don't necessarily have to give the fans championship contenders year after year after year. The fans are going to complain, but you don't have to give them a contender year after year after year. Augustine saying Fenway Sports Group is about sustainable results. I don't even know if I think that, man. Look at how bad the Red Sox have plummeted. Look at, like, even the Penguins, like, they're just like a middle of the road type team. But Fenway Sports Group, like, the Red Sox have plummeted since they won their World Series championship in 2018. Which is also a weird thing to say. Ooh, maybe we go another 84 years. 1918, that was a chant. I remember it as a Yankees fan. That was a chant. 1918. Maybe we can do 2018. Oh, I'm with it. Let's go another 84 years between Boston winning championships. That'll make me a happy guy. I'm looking through here, seeing all the stuff, trying to find what else was included in the Kyle Kuzma trade here. I'm going to have to do some research here on that in just a little bit. I wanted to continue, though, with some of the stuff that happened in the NBA. As we know, there was a big trade this weekend. Sorry, Tommy. I know this is going to hurt your heart. Augustine saying, I've seen it with Liverpool. It's also a different animal playing in the Premier League. No, 100%. Like, again, the relegation, right? Like, you got to have accountability. Your team has to be good enough to continue to stay in those playing at the highest level. So I'm with you on that one. Like the Premier League, completely different than some of the other stuff that's out there. But we know that there was the big trade that happened over this weekend. Tommy Cananza saying, no, let's go Red Sox. Gross. Get out of here with that nonsense. Let's go Red Sox. Augustine saying the Premier League, there's accountability in that league, 100%. 100%. I believe baseball, Major League Baseball, you'd be able to have relegation, but I believe that in American sports, it's just not going to happen because it's all about the bottom line. And that's why I feel like Fenway Sports Group and all them were really big on the Premier League having that Super League. So that way, if you're a part of that Super League, you're going to get money no matter what it was going to be, like an American-style league. And I think that that's just so... that goes against what the European leagues are about, and that's why I believe the Super League failed. But LeBron James was interviewed yesterday. It was like the first time that they get to make public statements about the trade that happened over the weekend, and LeBron James is holding on to his thought process, or I guess his belief. Man, it feels like we're just dumping on LeBron James this show. I'm about it. Why not? LeBron James felt like he was in the same boat as everyone else.
Obviously, we had just come off a big win, huge win in the Garden. I was out. You got something important. I was out with my family at dinner and got the news. And first time I heard it, I thought it was for sure fake. It was a hoax. People messing around, whatever. But then when AD called me, AD FaceTimed me, and I talked to him for quite a while. And even when I got off the phone with him, it still didn't seem real, and it still pretty much didn't seem real until saw Luka today, and then I saw a clip of AD at the Dallas shoot-around. That's when it finally hit me like, oh, this is real.
I think the one thing we've always said about you is I feel like you've seen and heard it all.
Yeah, I ain't never seen this one. I have. I've seen her all up until this one. I've never been a part of one transaction like that. That was different.
LeBron James trying to pretend that he had no idea, that he wasn't in on it at all, that Anthony Davis was going to be traded. LeBron James is invested in a sports agency group that basically means Rich Paul, LeBron James's really good friend, is Anthony Davis's agent. So there's no way in hell that I don't think you're ever going to forget it, Tommy. There's no way in hell, at least in my mind, that Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis's agent didn't let LeBron James know something, right? Like there's no way that that can be allowed, that LeBron doesn't know anything. Augustine's saying it though, like LeBron and Luka, that's going to be a fun show. I'm not 100% sure. Like I'm not bought in on that. I feel like it can be, but it's also like they play the same style. They're the exact same guy. And that to me is going to cause a little bit of an issue. I think this season, again, the big caveat, if Anthony Davis can be healthy, Dallas might have a higher upside this season. In the future, though, if Luka stays in LA, because there's not a guarantee that Luka's going to stay in LA, like he's going to become a free agent now. He's going to miss out on the Supermax. The Mavericks must really hate Luka Doncic, by the way, to really cost him effectively $117 million in what the Supermax is, right? If Luka stays in LA, and I don't think that there is a great chance that Luka stays in LA. Like if I'm Luka, I test all the markets now because everyone can pay me whatever. Like my max is now at a different level than what it would have been in Dallas. If I'm Luka, I'm shopping myself around. I'm not promising myself to the LA Lakers, right? Like there's no guarantee here. Gary Bryant saying LeBron is lying straight up. He knew and he signed off on it. And that's the thing, right? Is LeBron has been the guy. Let's not pretend that LeBron isn't pulling the strings over there with the LA Lakers when his son, who doesn't belong in the NBA, is in the NBA playing alongside his dad, his papa, right? Like there's no reason whatsoever for us to believe that LeBron James had nothing to do with this. Like, he had no clue whatsoever. Y'all saw you saw the reports. I was out to dinner. I was eating. How many times have we known something and we just tell our friends like, "Nah, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I was asleep. I was just out there drinking. I don't know." Right? Like how many times have we done that? That's exactly what it was. I feel like LeBron James was doing right there. Like he calls up, man. Anthony Davis calls him up on FaceTime, and he's looking at his phone. He's like, hold on, like I gotta talk to AD real quick. What's up, AD? Bron, did you hear that I got traded? And he looks at his phone. He's like, nah, man, what? Nah, there ain't no way. Nah, man, nah, I can't believe that. Nah, man. Like I feel like that's what happened. And you can always tell whenever someone's like, come on. Gary Bryant saying, I'm a big Luka fan, but I hate the Lakers, so I'm in some sort of dilemma here. I know that feeling all too well. Tommy Canassa saying he's going to come back to Dallas after they fire Nico Harrison. Gary Bryant saying it would be crazy if Luka bolts after 26 and signs elsewhere like with the Knicks. I saw, and it's just, me being in one of those things where it's like, Jesus Christ, like, I can't believe I'm in these weird echo chambers. Like, they were trying to plan out a whole thing. San Antonio Spurs fans of, like, Luka now can come to the San Antonio Spurs. And in my mind, I'm like, holy hell, De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama, and Luka Doncic in my veins, man. Like, I am about it, right? But I just can't see a scenario of that happening. Like, I would love it to happen. I just can't see a scenario of that happening. And Luka does love Texas, though. He does love Texas. Augustine saying, what if it's a plan done by Luka? He goes for 1 year and then goes back to Dallas with Anthony Davis. That would be galaxy brain, right? What if Nico Harrison isn't the idiot that we think he is. And he pulled this amazing trade off. Luka's just going to leave LA and come over back home to Dallas. Tommy, how would you like that? How would you like that, Tommy? Now you got AD, Kyrie, and Luka. I am about it, man. I am, again, you know what, Augustine, you're giving me what I wanted. I wanted the conspiracy theories. There we go. Luka Doncic and Nico Harrison pulled the strings to get this trade done, to get Anthony Davis, to get a first-round draft pick from the LA Lakers in 2029 so that Luka can come back. Tommy can also saying it's not going to happen, Tip. Stop dreaming. It's not even, if that happened, it would be a nightmare for me. What are you talking about? That's not a dream for me. Tommy also saying, I love that one, Augustine. I love that one. Or you're talking about Luka going to the Spurs would be a dream. There's no way in hell. Like, I agree. There's no way in hell that's happening. Gary Bryant saying LeBron is lying about Taco Tuesday at his house. He's lying about eating out. The L in LeBron stands for lion. Tommy Canazza saying, I'm all for that. I think, you know what, Augustine? You've done it. You have created now what I feel like is the best conspiracy theory in sports. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I am going to, a couple weeks ago, we made Philadelphia Eagles Instagram mad at me. They were really mad at The Rock, but they were mad at me. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to make the LA Lakers social media accounts mad at me as well. You know what, Tommy? I want it to happen now, just because you keep saying it like that. Like, you're typing in all caps, you're yelling at me. I don't deserve you to yell at me. Why are you doing this to me, guy? Okay, but this is what we're going to do. I'm going to get serious. I'm going to make a 30-second clip right now talking about the conspiracy theory that Augustine has given us. Augustine, thank you. We're going to put this out on social media, and we're going to see how many people we can just piss off, especially the LA Lakers fan base out there, because if there's a fan base that I don't like along with the Philadelphia Eagles, it's going to be the fan base of the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that, Augustine. Here we go. Getting into acting mode. You get to see that I am going to one day be an amazing, award-winning, Oscar-worthy actor. All right, so here we go. I was talking with my guy, Augustine Pimentel, the other day, and we came up with what I genuinely believe is going to happen with the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic, and this weird trade that we've all seen. Everyone wants to say that Nico Harrison is an idiot for making this trade. But I have to know that there's something beyond this. He has to know something. And it's not that Luka's out of shape. It's not that Luka wanted to go away from Dallas, that they wanted to cost him all this stuff, right? It has to be that they know something that other people don't know. And the belief that we have, Augustine and I, is that Luka Doncic and Nico Harrison were in on this trade to get Anthony Davis to Dallas so that Luka can go play a season in LA and leave LA and re-sign with Dallas in free agency. That is what's going to happen. That is what the plan was here all along. So Dallas Mavericks fans, just deal with it for a little bit. LA Lakers fans, welcome to hell. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Tommy Canazza saying, Augustine finally got his brain cells back from the devil. That was a conspiracy theory referencing one of the conspiracy theories yesterday. Augustine sold his brain cells to the devil for a bag of peanuts. Gary Bryant saying he hates the Sheagles too. I feel like you've come to the safe place, Gary. Welcome. Welcome to a safe place here where we can just hate on the entirety of the Philadelphia Eagles for the remainder of eternity. The other day, tonight, as a matter of fact, I'm going to be on the National Professional Sports Show, and we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff that's happening in the world of sports. And last week, we were given a story about a Philadelphia Eagles fan climbing a pole and plummeting down to his death. And I felt like a complete jerk because I know I should be sympathetic to this stuff, but I'm just not. Right? Like, if you play dumb games, you win dumb prizes. As far as I'm concerned, climb as many poles as you need to, Philadelphia, and fall as far as you want to, Philadelphia. No one is stopping you. Don't grease the poles, Philadelphia Police Department, PPD, whatever it is. Don't grease the poles. Let them climb the poles. Let them find out. FAFO. F around and find out. I'm about it. Let's go, Philadelphia. More Eagles fans plummeting to their death makes me a happy guy. I probably shouldn't have said that. I also wonder if I actually believe that. Now I got to think about this. Anyway, maybe I got to do some internal, thinking and trying to figure out a bunch of stuff and what's going on in my world. And I feel like I'm not the only person doing that, because since the trade happened with Luka Doncic, I kind of thought to myself, who else has to try to wrap their mind around it? And that was Kyrie Irving.
I was really shocked, and you just don't imagine that you're going to get ready to go to sleep, and then you find out news like that. So it's still a grieving process right now. Miss my hermano. We had a lot of time together. Keith too, and Maxie, and we just built some bonds that went beyond the basketball court. So if anybody can understand at home, when someone or a few group of people or a few people leave in a trade, it's going to be difficult, and that's what we're dealing with right now. But this is a business. It's way above my pay grade. And I just got to adjust and be ready to welcome in my new teammates with open arms, and kind of be ready to go back to Dallas too, to speak in front of our fans. I know they're feeling it too. I'm feeling it too, guys. So yeah, it's just an adjustment period, and I don't want to downplay this either or disrespect our new guys. They're going to help us win, and they're going to help us build towards the championship. But just like everyone else at home, when you kind of see it from afar, it hurts. So
I wonder how long it's going to be before Kyrie Irving starts putting the sage in American Airlines Arena, kind of the way that he did in Boston, right? Like, I wonder how long it's going to be before that happens, because, man, it feels like they need something, right? Like they really need something that allows them to, just try to get past this, right? Like, Dallas Mavericks fans, Tommy, it's not just you. As a matter of fact, on Friday, because, again, I got to let you all know, I pre-recorded shows for tomorrow and Friday since I will be out of town. And my guy, Danny Hoban, he does Danny on the Diamond. We're going to be debuting that. He's a former Texas Rangers prospect. He was drafted by the Texas Rangers, and he is a huge Dallas Mavericks fan as well. He was going through all the emotions whenever we were recording the show. So I'm with you, Tommy. They've got to find a way to get past this, to hopefully move on. And I still feel like if they win a championship this year, it's going to sit in the back of their heads we probably could have done this with Luka, right? So it's going to be a hard thing to move on. You can hear in Kyrie's voice the fact that he's like, I miss my hermano, right? You hear that from Kyrie, and you're like, oh, wow. They were really close, and you could tell they had a genuine friendship. They liked playing with one another, which is really weird to see out of Kyrie Irving, because he doesn't like playing with anybody. So it's going to be a lot. And I think that Kyrie's just going to have to go through and start saging the locker room, saging the entire arena. Augustine saying this trade is like the Bulls trading Jordan after the first three-peat. No, it's not, because the Mavericks didn't have that kind of success, right? Gary Bryant is just going on one. Anti-Philadelphia, I am here for it. And the Philly cheesesteaks in Philly, overrated, and Walmart cream cheese over Philadelphia cream cheese. Just getting them. Everybody's like the Liberty Bell. Not even that big of a crack. I've seen bigger cracks on truckers. Oh, man, I'm an idiot. But I'm with you. You know what? Yeah, I don't like Philadelphia cream cheese. I love making cheesecakes, so I will use the Walmart cream cheese. I ain't no shame in my game. I'm with it as well. Tommy Canazzo saying, if the Kyrie AD show in Big D, let's move on. I'm with you, man. I'm sorry. But again, it's a huge story, man. Like it's one of the craziest things that I've seen in sports, right? Like I'm along with one of the craziest. I didn't get to talk about this last week because it was just one of those things where I was like, damn, I couldn't believe this. There was so much other stuff going on. We had to recap the AFC Championship game. There was a lot of things that went on. But that trade, Luka Doncic, all that, it was crazy to me, right? And they were talking about, well, the reasoning is because he's not available. The same thing with Anthony Davis. Like they're just hurt all the time. They're not in great shape. They're not in any of that stuff. And I had to like sit back and really think about this because I see that Joel Embiid posted a triple-double yesterday. And I saw the stat that in the 800 plus games that he's had available to him in his career for Joel Embiid, that he's played 424 games and had missed at that point 400 games, but somehow made over $300 million in his career. And I sat back and thought to myself, if Philadelphia can guarantee and sign Joel Embiid to these long-term deals, despite the fact that he's missed almost 50% of the games available to him in his entire career, what's the issue with Dallas? And that's where I think, okay, maybe there's something else, right? There's something deeper here than what's going on. But it just feels like what could be one of the dumbest trades in NBA history is what we've witnessed. Gary Bryant going to Augustine saying it's worse than that. It's like going to a funeral on Christmas Day in the snow. Freaking gut punch to Dallas fans. I blame Mark Cuban for selling the team. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I think what I'll do, I don't know if I'll do it on this platform just because I don't want to get my friends with National Streaming Sports in any kind of like hot water, but I will go through and I will do a deep dive on the things that I already know, and then I'll do a little more research as well on the Adelson family, and I will bring that up on various social media accounts. Because all this looks like to me is those people that buy the broke down house down the street and they flip it, they paint it that same damn gray that every flipper paints it gray. And I feel like that's what they're trying to do with the Dallas Mavericks. But it also goes a little bit beyond that. And like I said, I don't want to get into too much detail because I don't know if that can hurt my friends at National Streaming Sports. But the things that I know, I will go deep dive into, and I will let you guys know on a different platform. So, Gary, maybe I'll just put it out on like my YouTube and my Instagram channel, right? Maybe that's what I'll do with that stuff. Tommy Canassa saying he's not available, so let's trade for another guy who's never available. F you, Nico. Man, I love this. Like, because it was the same thing. Like Danny Hoban talking about that as well, right? It was the exact same thing. The vitriol, and it's well deserved. Like it genuinely is. Normally, I'm the type of person that's like, hey, let's take a step back. Let's think about all these other things that are out there. There's no way you pull the trigger on this. And it seems so fishy, right? Like you're Kobe Bryant's guy that got him from Adidas over to Nike or whatever. And Rob Pelinka was Kobe's agent. Now he's the GM in LA. So you guys have a great relationship. And the only thing that gets spoken about, the only trade offer at all, like you didn't call any of the other teams, was you called LA? Like that to me seems a little on the sketchy side. But again, I'm just some dude. What do I know about things? That'll be a conspiracy theory that we can put out there as well, right? Like maybe Nico Harrison is a sleeper agent for the LA Lakers and he's just trying to make that team better. Because it is odd to me that Kobe Bryant's shoe guy and Kobe Bryant's agent made a trade to make the LA Lakers better in the future. If, again, caveat, if Luka Doncic decides to stay in LA with the Lakers. I did put out a bunch yesterday. I was trolling on some of my friends of just pictures of fat people in LA. Like they had like a middle-aged, maybe 50-year-old fat, out-of-shape coach on the sidelines, like just putting his hand up in a lazy way, like he's trying to block a shot. I was like, damn, Luka's looking bad. And then they had a picture of like James Corden, like wearing a Lakers jersey. And it's like, damn, Luka's looking really bad. Gary Bryant saying, what if Nico was ordered to trade him? Did he have a choice aside from abruptly quitting? But that's the thing, right? Like, you know what? Now that I'm like, thinking it out, like there may be the possibility here, right? Like maybe we're just tanking it. I'll get into those details. As a matter of fact, I might just record it after the show because I've got nothing else to do until noon. So I might just record something after the show and I'll post it up on my YouTube channel and stuff like that. I'll talk to my friends over at National Streaming Sports, and maybe tonight, if they say it's okay for me to talk about it, I will talk about it because I guarantee you, it's not pretty. But it's a major flex that we've seen owners and ownership like that do. So it'll be something. Again, I'm doing it on the professional side. I want to be as professional as I can with my friends at National Streaming Sports because they allow me to be on the Roku channel, streamed out to over 10,000 people at one period in time. Thank you to all of those that are supporting the Roku channel and even the stuff that we're doing here. I appreciate all of y'all for being a part of it and being a part of the shenanigans. I do love, though, the Augustine conspiracy theory. Then he goes on to say, Augustine does, it was Mark Cuban who ordered it. He told them to trade Luka because he doesn't like foreigners. I shouldn't have read that. Jesus Christ, man. Like, he had Dirk Nowitzki on his team. He had J.J. Barea. He won a championship with Dirk Nowitzki and J.J. Barea on his team. Also, 5'10" J.J. Barea shutting down LeBron James in that 2010 NBA championship. Tommy Canassa saying, don't follow unlawful orders, Nico. Don't do it. That's the thing, too. Like, you got to stand up for yourself a little bit, right? Like, you can't be like, trade Luka Doncic. Okay, it's like, I think we can get a lot out of him. No. You trade Luka for the worst deal you can get. What? Like, if I do that, I'm going to be scapegoated. Like, again, there has to be something. There has to be something that he knows that other people don't know. And for me, it's like, there's got to be more. There's just got to be more. Gary Bryant laughing at Augustine. This is where I need a producer, so I save myself from the comment section. That's why I don't like. I was streaming and I did really well on TikTok, and I was like reading all the comments. I don't think I can read the comments on TikTok because a lot of it is about like how I sound weird and how I look weird. And it's like, okay, I know, I understand. Trust me, I get it. Can we just move on? Someone saying that I was faking my voice once. That was a funny one. Either way. All right, guys. So, a little bit of housekeeping. Again, tomorrow's show, Friday's show, those have been pre-recorded. I will be out of town. I'm going to be down in Mexico, in Guadalajara, riding the tequila train. I'm going to be posting up videos, a bunch of stuff like that, to kind of inform you all about what's going on over there. We're trying to help out with tourism and show that part of the country, the whole country of Mexico, really isn't nearly as bad as what people have been saying out there in various different social medias and channels like that. It's been a fun time, an absolutely fun time. I can't wait to go out there and check out what they're doing with Cuervo and the tequila train. Gary Bryant saying, trade Luka to Milwaukee for Thanasis Antetokounmpo. I am here for it. I am 100% here for it. Love the messages that I'm getting today. It's been absolutely awesome. Everybody, I want to thank you so much. Again, without y'all, I can't do this stuff, so thank you for the support. Like, share, put all the stuff out there. The podcast is back up on Apple Podcasts as well if you missed a part of the show and you want to go back and get it. I appreciate y'all so much. We will see you again next week following the Super Bowl. I hope the Philadelphia Eagles lose in overtime the most heartbreaking way as possible, and all of their fans question their existence. We'll see you all next week.